Welcome back to Teshkid FX for another price prediction update, and in this video I'll be giving you a price prediction update on Polygon Matic, whose current price stands at the $0.8614 mark, and here on TradingView the market is up by 1.21%. and in this video I want to give you the key scenarios that I expect to play out, basing my analysis on the Elliot wave structures, the Fibonacci's, and also the key areas of support and resistances. And I'll kickstart the video by giving a brief of what has been happening on this chart. Polygon Matic from the all-time high had been seeing lower prices in this massive ABC corrective movement, which took us back to around the $0.32 mark, and having done so, I believe it has done the minimum that we expected it to do in its ABC corrective movement, and that's why we have been seeing a very nice bounce to the upper side, obeying the Elliot wave structure, where I believe this wave 5 will be taking us back to an all-time high in the next bull market. But before that plays out, we first need to see that first wave to the upper side, which is what we have been seeing here on the Polygon Matic chart, and we have completed the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 1, and now we are in the formation of this higher Elliot wave count 2. And getting a little bit into the details of the formation of this higher Elliot wave count 1 and jumping to the 4-hour chart for further analysis. Here on the 4-hour chart you can see this Elliot wave structure that I have right here in yellow, which is a fractal wave within that first wave to the upper side, and that is so because a first wave to the upper side is an impulsive wave, and we also expect to see fractal waves in formation within that impulsive movement to the upper side. In the formation of that first wave to the upper side, the wave 5 is what completed the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 1, and using the Fibonacci's, that is the trend based Fibonacci, we can get to see whether that first wave to the upper side has done the minimum that we expect a wave 1 to do, by connecting the trend based Fibonacci from the low of the first wave down there to the high of the wave 1, then dragging the fibs to the high of the wave 3, and that gives me a minimum target area to the upper side in the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 1 and the fib level 0.618, which perfectly lies at around the $1.25 mark. And since we have fully maximized the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 1 to the upper side by going back to around the $1.3 mark, then whatever we are seeing over here is a movement to the lower side in the formation of a higher Elliot wave count 2, and using the Fibonacci's we can sketch out a minimum target area to the lower side in the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 2. And I just need to connect the Fibonacci's from the low of the first wave to the high of that wave 1, and that gives me a minimum retracement area between the fib level 0.5 and the fib level 0.618, and I can mark that target area here on the charts, which perfectly lies between the $0.8 mark and the $0.69 mark, and I can mark that target area here on the charts like that. And you can see we have been coming down into that target area, touching the fib level 0.5 and then seeing a reaction to the upper side. And before we started seeing that breakdown to the lower side in the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 2, we had a chart pattern that is right here, which is a double top, which is a chart pattern that normally breaks to the lower side, having the target area of the breakout as the height between the tops and the neckline. And after seeing the breakout, you can see we fully maximized our target area by retracing even back to around the $0.78 mark, found a key area of support at around the $0.78 mark, gave us support, then we saw a very nice bounce to the upper side, managing to make a peak at around the $1.17 mark. And because a wave 2 is a corrective wave, we also expect to see an ABC structure play out here on the Polygon Matic chart, and I believe we are seeing such a structure right here, having this as the wave A, then a wave B making its peak at around the $1.17 mark. Then we have continued pushing lower, though we have not yet made our low in the formation of this wave C, and I'm expecting to see a new low here on the Polygon Matic chart, so that we can start saying that maybe the low for that higher Elliot wave count 2 might be in, and that low for that high Elliot wave count 2 I expect it to play out within this red target area between the $0.8 mark and the $0.69 mark. And from what you can see here on the charts, you can see we have come down back to around the $0.78 mark, which is a key area of support, and it seems to be giving us support, and that's why we are seeing a bit of a bounce to the upper side over here. And in this movement there are two possible scenarios that can play out. We might have found support, and that's why we are seeing this bounce to the upper side, and we can see a retest of that key area of support right here. And in case the retest happens and the retest is a success, then I'll be expecting even higher prices, and my next target area will be at around the $0.95 mark, where we'll be facing our next key area of resistance. And once we get to that key area of resistance, we can either manage to break above it or we can get rejected. And in case we see a rejection, then we can see another impulsive movement. We can expect an impulsive movement, managing to lose the key area of support at around the $0.78 mark, even see a retest of this key area of support. And once the retest is in, then we can continue pushing lower, make the low for this wave C, and once that plays out, then we can see the low for that higher Elliott wave count 2 might be in, then start sketching out a nice impulsive movement to the upper side in the formation of that higher Elliott wave count 3. There is also a possibility that we can manage to break above the key area of resistance once the retest is in of the key area of support at around the $0.78 mark, maybe manage to break above it, above the key area of resistance at around the $0.95 mark. And in case that happens, then I would expect us to make a high that is below the high for this wave B, because in case we make a high that is above it, then I'll have to restructure this ABC corrective movement that I have right here on the chart. So those are the two possible scenarios that I expect to play out here on the Polygon Matic chart, but my primary scenario of making a new low in the formation of this higher Elliott wave count 2 still remains. And using the trend based Fibonacci, we can get another target area in the formation of this higher Elliott wave count 2, which is a bit lower, by connecting the fibs from the high of that wave A to the low of the wave A, then dragging the fibs to the high of that wave B, and using the fib level 1.618, we can get a target area back to around the $0.93 mark here on the Polygon Matic chart, and that will still be a valid wave 2 because it will still be above the high, that is the low for this wave 1, and retracing to this target area at around the $0.35 mark. That is still a possibility that we need to have in mind, and that can only happen in case we lose the fib level 0.618 and continue pushing lower, and also lose key areas of support in between here. That will be my next target area at around the $0.35 mark. So let's be patient and see how that plays out. Also taking a look at the indicators to see what movements will be supported here on the RSI. On the RSI, we are trading at around the 55 mark, meaning we have massive room for us to continue pushing higher, and there is a possibility of getting back to around the $0.95 mark, and from there we can, that will be a key decision point, because we can either manage to break above it or maybe lose, that is see a rejection of that key area of resistance. Also taking a look at the MACD here on the 1 hour, on the 4 hour MACD, we have printed a bullish cross, and we are seeing an increase in the buying momentum, and that would mean higher prices are coming our way. So let's be patient and see how that plays out, and I'll keep you updated.